Hello, my name is Andra Cozma and I am a PhD candidate at the University of Alicante. My research will focus on the discovery and the analysis of the English as a foreign language, learning and educational needs of different groups of adults who attend courses in Greece and other European countries, their wants, their lacks, and their requirements, the motivations and the expectations, but also the obstacles that they encounter in the process of lifelong learning especially during difficult times like the ones provoked by the pandemics or worse. In addition, the research will examine the role that the adult educator plays in the English language teaching courses, despite the obstacles they might encounter when dealing with different worldwide crises like the COVID-19 pandemic crisis or the humanitarian crisis provoked by the war in Ukraine. Research is related to the teaching of the English language as a foreign language to adult learners are numerous, but very few refer to periods of crisis during history. This is the reason why the current paper is considered of utmost importance and is hoped to help also teachers to understand how adult learners' needs change in multicultural societies struck by wars and pandemics. Before speaking about my research, I would like to say a few words about myself. I have graduated from the University Alexandru Ioan Cuza in Romania, where I have studied to the Department of Romanian and English Language and Literature. Afterwards, I have conducted two master's degrees in Greece, one in human resource management and the other one in teaching English as a foreign language. At the moment I am working as a substitute English teacher to young learners in kindergarten, and I'm also working with adults, teaching them English in schools, in second chance schools and in professional vocational schools. Foreign language learning, and especially English language learning, is considered essential in Greece, as it is also in all European countries. English is the most used language for communication in educational and economic fields. And in the last decade, the emphasis placed on learning English in Greece and also in the other European countries has escalated, and this trend is noticeable at all levels of public and private education, starting from young learners in primary and secondary education and continuing throughout tertiary level of education in universities, institutes of vocational training, in second chance schools and lifelong learning centers. I will focus my research on how adults learn English in the context of continuous education, especially during difficult times like the pandemics or wars like the one in Ukraine. And I will also focus my research on how teachers should adapt their teaching methods and design materials according to the curriculum guidelines and to the unique characteristics of each specific group of learners. The purpose of my research is to discover the EFL learning needs of adults who attend courses in Greece and other European countries during the process of continuous education and lifelong learning in multicultural societies affected by different crises, and to examine how the role of adult educators that teach English language courses changed because of the different worldwide crises. Needs analysis surveys help teachers and practitioners discover the needs of adult learners enrolled in different educational programs. Conducting such surveys is considered critical in order to decide on the most appropriate methodology, teaching methods, and course book selection. The term needs, it's like an umbrella term which includes the wants, the lacks, the requirements, the motivations, the expectations, and the obstacles encountered in the learning process by the learners. Adult learners have unique characteristics that they bring with them when returning to post-initial education and training. And one of the roles of the English teacher is to discover and consider these characteristics in order to create and implement a suitable English course. Adult learners bring with them life experiences. And they want to use these experiences as a source of knowledge. Also, they tend to prefer active, self-directed, autonomous learning, feeling responsible for their own training. Therefore, their options about the content of the course have to be considered by the teacher in the role of the syllabus designer. These post-initial education situations presuppose from the part of the learners some basic linguistic competencies in English language and engagement with the specialty taught and the motivation to learn. Motivation varies from adult to adult and can be triggered, for example, by social or personal reason, by the desire to obtain a certificate, or by their wish to acquire a new skill. Adults come back to education because they want to change something to their profession, social or personal life, having specific goals and expectations about the training program. Adult learners have different preferences concerning the way they acquire knowledge, and they use different strategies for learning. The present needs analysis survey will focus on discovering respondents' different strategies for learning. The adult learners also have competing interests since they assume different roles on a daily basis. For example, that of a provider for their family or that of a member of the community. These competing interests are many times of greater importance than the learning process and may act as obstacles, often affecting the whole process of teaching and learning. These obstacles in learning are also analyzed in the current research. In order to exploit the learning and the educational needs of the specific group of students, I will address a general research question, which are the EFL learning and educational needs of adult students in the context of continuous education during difficult times. And I will try to answer other 5 research questions, like which are the attitudes, wants, and expectations of adult students towards English language learning when they return to education during difficult times. What are the EFL learning styles of adult students that return to education during difficult times? What EFL learning strategies adult learners prefer to use when they return to education during difficult times? What are the lacks and the obstacles encountered by the adult students in learning English in the context of continuous education during difficult times? And how does the English teacher contribute to the process of continuous education of adult students during difficult times? Connected to the research strategy, I will conduct a descriptive research exploring the English as a foreign language learning needs of different groups of adult students coming from different societies affected by multiple crises. I will conduct a quantitative methodological approach because the main aim of the study is to obtain answers to the same questions from a representative majority of individuals enrolled in English language courses in Greece and other European countries. I am planning to use a quantitative methodology because I will have more control over how the data will be gathered and interpreted. The data will be more precise, reliable, consistent, and numerical. I will be able to arrange the data using simple analytical methods. The data will have the form of numbers and statistics arranged in tables or charts, and the data analysis will be relatively less time consuming using statistical software like SPSS. Here are the steps in the data collection process. I have already identified the variables that I will need in my research. I have selected the sample population. I have chosen as a collection method of that for the data the questionnaire. In the following months, I will pilot the questionnaire and I will modify, if needed, the collection methods and the different variables. In the next months, I will also collect the data using the questionnaire and some interviews. While conducting my research, of course, I will have to take into consideration the foreseeable problems like the access to collect the necessary data, the access to the group of adult learners, and the ethical issues involved related to the people, the institutions, and the information that need to be collected. Of course, the participants will be assured of anonymity and confidentiality throughout the stages of the research process. I will take the informed consent prior to the fulfillment of the questionnaires, and if requested, the results of the study will be shared with the respondents. I also have to take into consideration personal safety issues. The target population is located inside different public institutions, and the individuals will complete the questionnaires during one of their English class, so I think the personal safety issue is covered. The collection of the primary data will be conducted with the help of the questionnaire, as I already said. After the data will be collected, will be introduced in the SPSS package, and the descriptives and inferential statistics will be implemented in order to extract the necessary information about the learners' needs, wants, and lacks in relation to studying English in their institution. In line with the literature, the questionnaire will ask short, simple questions of one or two clauses in order to avoid confusing the respondents. The questions will be precise, inquiring for one piece of information at a time. The items included in the questionnaire will be created as Burgess advises by combining creative thinking with already tested questionnaires, measuring student needs for the English language, and relevant adult education literature. My questionnaire will include the close type questions, which will be quick to complete and straightforward to code afterwards. That is multiple questions, multiple choice questions, category questions, ranking questions, rating scale questions. The questionnaire will include 5 sections. The first section will ask for information related to demographic data such as age, gender, education, languages the respondents speak, and current work situation, country of origin. The second section will ask respondents to express their attitudes, wants, and expectations towards the English language learning when they return to education during difficult times, while the third section will investigate the respondents' learning styles, preferences, and strategies used when learning English while having to cope with different humanitarian crises. The fourth section will analyze the difficulties, lacks, and obstacles respondents encounter in learning the English language in the context of continuous education during difficult times, while the last section will ask respondents to rank different English language skills according to the degree of importance and degrees of difficulty to learn the foreign language. The analysis of the research data will be done with the Statistical Package for Social Science Software, SPSS. I will conduct descriptive and inferential statistics procedures, and the results will be presented in the forms of tables, graphics, and written work. I will test my work for reliability and validity. Reliability refers to the consistency and accuracy of the results and their replicability in similar conditions. For the present research, reliability unfortunately cannot be proven. Validity assesses the suitability of the research tools and determines whether it measures what is supposed to be measuring. Validity might be improved through careful sampling, appropriate instrumental implementation, and appropriate statistical analysis of the data. This is a timetable for my research. Now I am at the point where I am completing my literature review. I will modify next if needed, and I'll finish the questionnaire design. I will distribute from September and on the questionnaires to the groups of learners and complete the primary data collection of the research. Next, I will further develop the research design if needed. And I hope to finish the analysis with the SPSS of the primary data at the end of the year. I will write my full report on the findings, including conclusions, implications, and recommendations during 2024, and I will consult the finished research with my supervisors in order to make improvements. I hope by March 2025 to submit my dissertation. These are a few of the references used for my literature review. Thank you very much for your time, and I wish you all the best.